Hi everyone, and welcome to this short presentation about GCSE psychology. My name is Miss Barnshaw, and I'm Head of Department working with a small team of other specialist teachers. So firstly, what is psychology? Psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behaviour, and we follow the AQA GCSE specification. The content of the course is divided into 8 topic areas, which are assessed by 2 exams at the end of Year 11. So in paper 1, there are 4 topics that you will learn about. Memory is the first topic that we start with. And as you can see on the screen, there is a picture there of a little girl in a shopping centre. One study we learn about in memory is how it's possible to plant a false memory in people's mind. So, in this particular study, researchers, through the power of suggestion, made 25% of adults falsely recall an experience of being lost in a shopping centre as a child, even though this never really happened to them. And these adults were recalling details of how they felt when they were lost in a shopping centre, even though that never really did happen. We also study a topic called perception. So if you look at the image on the bottom right hand side, this is known as an ambiguous figure because there are 2 images you should be able to see, a duck and a rabbit. So we look at how these visual illusions are able to trick our brain. Another topic is called development. So we look at how we change, grow, and our skills develop from being in our mother's womb all the way up to adulthood. So, for example, at 8 months old, babies learn something called object permanence. This is where they realise that if you hide something under, say, a blanket, maybe you put a teddy under a blanket, the baby will realise that that teddy still exists and they will lift up the blanket to look for it. Before they reach 8 months old, they don't realise that. So if you hide something away from them, they won't search for it because they feel it's vanished. And finally, in paper 1, we learn a topic called research methods. And this topic is really important because it can be assessed across both papers. And this is all about how we plan, design, and conduct research in psychology through the use of experiments, interviews, questionnaires, etc. So in paper 2, we have our other 4 topics. So one of our topics is called social influence. If you look at the bottom left, you will see a picture of a train. So in one study we look at, they staged a collapse in a train carriage, and the person who collapsed either pretended to be drunk or pretended to be disabled, and they found that people were much more likely to help the disabled person because they seemed more deserving of help. So we look at how sometimes bystanders in an emergency may or may not help depending on what the victim looks like or appears to be like. Another topic in paper 2 is called language, thought and communication, and we look at a study of bees and how they are able to communicate where a food source is through particular dances. So they have a round dance, which shows other bees that the food source is close to the hive, and a waggle dance, which shows that it's further away. Another topic is called brain and neuropsychology, and within this we look at the structure and function of the brain. So as you can see in the picture there are different areas of the brain that are responsible for different functions. So we have particular parts that are responsible for our vision, our hearing, our memory, our ability to speak. And we look at how, if some of those areas are damaged, what does that mean for us? What are we able to no longer do? We also study the nervous system and different types of neurons within this section. And then finally, our 8th topic is called psychological problems. And within this, we look at two mental health problems: depression and addiction. So we look at the symptoms of these disorders, we look at reasons why we might develop depression or addictions, and also treatments for them. So medical treatments and also talking treatments. Now, as you can see, both these papers are assessed by an exam at the end of year 11. This exam is 1 hour 45 minutes out of 100 marks, and each paper will make up 50% of your GCSE. So, what skills do you need if you would like to take psychology? So, there will be writing. And what's important in psychology is writing in a concise and a clear way using the subject specific terms that we will teach you. In the exams, there's a range of questions. So these range from multiple choice, short answer, so maybe, 1 and 2 mark answers, all the way up to 9 mark questions, which is the biggest mark question you can get. Now, just to bear in mind, within research methods, we will have some use of mathematical skills. This won't be any harder than what you will be doing at GCSE. So it'll be things like mean, median, mode, graphs, those kind of skills. And then again, in the brain and neuropsychology topic, there will be some overlap with science because we are studying the brain. So there will be some scientific content within that area as well. So, what do our current psychology students think about the course? The main thing students say is how interesting they find it. Students really do enjoy the range of different topics and all the things that you learn about, particularly because you can see psychology in your everyday life. So it's really easy to relate it to the real world, and students really do enjoy that. Now, things that they find challenging is the amount there is to learn. As you can see from this presentation, there's 8 different topics. So what that means is that you need to be really organised from the beginning of year 10 with your revision and make sure that you're on top of your work. If you do that, it should be okay. But I think that's important to bear in mind before you start. So finally, do you need to study GCSE psychology to study the A-level? You don't, but there is some content in the GCSE that overlaps with the A-level. So if you do take GCSE, it will always be useful. But as I said, it's not compulsory. You don't have to. So I know this has been a bit of a quick tour on what psychology is, but I hope it has been a helpful introduction for you and given you an insight into whether you think it would be something you'd like to do. If you do have any questions about anything at all, please email me, and I've put my email there up on the screen. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see some of you in year 10 starting psychology. Thank you very much.